Hello and welcome to Stories That Shape Us. My name is Joanna Daniel. If you've been following Stories That Shape Us, you would realize that we missed 2 days, and that's because I was unwell. Because I was unwell, I wasn't able to post, I wasn't able to record the stories, and I wasn't able to post. Sometimes I record in advance and is able to schedule them, but this week never got a chance to do that, and I was unwell and wasn't able to post. Today I'm feeling much better, and so I didn't want to miss another day. I was wondering if I would miss the entire week, but I'm really glad that I'm able to do today's story, and hopefully we can carry on. So today's topic is, does your partner make you feel safe? I was listening to a podcast, and I think this is really important as we do this series on Before We Say I Do, and focusing on relationships and how trauma impacts relationships. That's something that I'm particularly interested in, and I've talked about it extensively. And I think for the rest, perhaps the rest of Stories That Shape Us will do that, except when I'm interviewing, I guess, on something special or a specific rather topic. So, does your partner make you feel safe? I was listening to a podcast this week, and the conversation, well, today actually, the conversation was around what makes a man feel safe. And the gentleman was sharing, and he said that when somebody can share how they feel without being ridiculed, one, and also if they can share and it not being used against them, then it makes them feel safe. And I thought that makes everybody feel safe. If we can share our how we feel honestly, and we're not being ridiculed, or what we share is not being used against us, it doesn't come back up and it's not used as something to shame, then of course we will feel safe. But there are a number of things that makes people feel safe. Those are just some of the things that makes people feel safe. So what I want you to consider is, as you're dating, you're thinking about dating, or you may be married, but this is the Before You Say I Do series. I'm focusing on those who are dating or thinking about dating. Do the people that you talk to help you feel safe? Is it a safe enough space for you to be who you are? Is it a safe enough space for you to be honest with your thoughts and with your feelings? Of course, this is incremental. If you're new in the relationship, you might not want to be exposing of your feelings. You want to test whether or not somebody is able to hold space with you as you share, for everybody to take responsibility for their actions and how they're feeling. But overall, it's safety. If emotional safety is an important thing for you, as somebody said in a group today, which made me really think, in one of the groups that I run on WhatsApp, that love equals emotional safety to them. And I thought that was really profound, and it's really good to know that what makes me feel loved. When I feel safe, I feel loved, and that's really important. So the question for you to consider is, does my partner make me feel safe? And I think of a situation that happened with me. My husband shared something, and I shared, and I was talking really strongly, and he said I was being vulnerable, and that made me stop, because I was really pressing my point home, and I hadn't stopped to think about what he was feeling or what he was saying, or that there was something underlining what he was saying. So when he said that, it made me stop and made me think about how I was sharing, why I was sharing, how I was sharing, the thoughts that was triggered for me when he shared. I was able to pull that back, and we hold space for each other while we each deal with how we feel separately about this topic that we were talking about. And it's almost as if I watched myself doing it. I watched us while we were doing it. I really noticed the warmth that was present, and the ability that we each had to hold space for our what we were feeling and thinking, and to be present for the next for each other, to witness what the next person was feeling and thinking. Well, we don't know what each other was thinking or feeling, and open the space to be able to share honestly, while we both go away with our thoughts, not in a way that we were hurt, so we needed to go nurse our wounds. There was no hurt, but because the space was safe, we could share, and we could hear each other and manage feelings. And that's emotional safety, to me. And that's what, and I was really glad that I was able to be present enough to make it the space, make him feel okay to say how he was feeling. And so, knowing when somebody makes you feel safe, there's somebody who is able to listen to you, somebody who is able to hear your heart, to hear your needs, be able to not ridicule you for it, be able to listen and witness your story and not fix how you should feel or tell you how you should feel, but hear how you're feeling right now and be able to hear what you need, not in a way that they have to fix it, because sometimes they can't. Sometimes people can't always fix what's going on for us. They certainly can't fix how we feel. How we feel is how we feel. They can't fix it. But are they emotionally available enough? Do they have the capacity to be able to hear you and to be able to hold space with you while you go through what you're going through? Sometimes a relationship, there might be a death that has to be dealt with, the passing of a loved one that might have to be dealt with. Sometimes illness comes, sometimes debt, in terms of finances. There's sometimes tragedy and crisis of different kinds might come when you are building a relationship. Is the space safe enough for you to be who you are while those things are happening, while you're not requiring anybody perhaps to fix it for you? But is it safe enough for you to just go through what you go through while that is happening? Can you cry in the space? Can you talk about how you feel, your loss? Can you become angry or sad? Can you be anything other than just happy in the space? Will your feelings get hurt, or will you experience additional wounds because you're sharing honestly? Can you share from your heart and your heart is held and heard? Can your heart be held? Can your heart be treated with gentleness and care? Will it be treated with love and respect and compassion? Will those things happen in that space? Does your partner make you feel safe? Or, I saw a post today that says perfect love casts out fear. And if you're afraid, then there's no love. And it's a similar thing when we think about safety in a relationship. If there's any level of fear, then you're not safe. And so if you're in this stage of dating and courtship and there's fear, then that should tell you something. And I always say to people that red flags don't become green. You know, if the flag is anything other than green, trust what you see, trust the pattern, and make decisions based on those patterns, because they will not change. You can't make a decision based on the future. Like, they might change. Like, after we get married, then all of this will change and they'll be a different person. They won't be a different person. They'll be exactly who they are now. So think about it. Think about whether or not the space is safe enough to manage and to hold you right now, because it needs to be able to manage to hold you now. Otherwise, it won't change. Do Another thing that makes the space safe is good communication. When we have good communication, we're able to manage conflict better, because there are certain things that needs to be talked out, certain things that needs to be talked through, certain issues that need to be talked through. Because as you talk through the issues, then your heart is heard, their heart is heard, and it helps to minimize conflict. But when communication isn't good, sometimes because of fear or fear of judgment, then the space won't be safe, because everybody will be holding things in, and we can't hold things in successfully without it coming out in our actions and in our behavior. So it's really important to be able to identify, is it good? Are we good at communicating? And so good at communication means, can you complete a sentence? Can you say how you feel without being shut down or cut off? Are you being dictated to about how to speak and how to think and how to feel? Are you able to articulate how you feel and be heard? Can the next person articulate how they feel? Or it won't be safe if it's shutdown and withdrawal that is used to communicate feelings. So when somebody shut down or withdraw, you must guess how they feel. And we'll never be able to guess successfully how someone feels, or why they're not talking, why they've withdrawn. And so that is starting a very difficult, harmful, toxic cycle that is really important to spot it early. So what's healthy is I feel, and you can talk about how you feel, and that the next person can hear you. Um, how do you feel about, what would you like, those kind of conversations where communication, where this thing happened and this is how I feel about it. And it can be clear, and there can be listening, without being cut off. You can say how you feel and you're heard. I keep repeating that so you know how important it is. And I'm thinking of things that are good communication, like eye contact, and listening with your body, your tone of voice, um, how the words that the next person used to address you. So there are many things within communication, and maybe I'll break that down a little bit more in another story. But when we have good communication, it really helps us to manage conflict, to express how we feel, and the next person is able to hear that, to tell us how they feel about what we share, and then we can have a conversation that is beneficial to everybody, to both of us, to both of you. So those are some of the things to look out for. You will also feel in your body when a space is not safe. Your body will tell you. Try not to ignore the signals that your body is giving you about feelings of safety. So try to identify in your body what happens when you feel stress or when you feel tension. Where in your body do you feel tension? Try to identify that, because I guarantee you that whenever you're around this person, the signals will appear in your body. Start to listen to that. Listen to what's going on when that happens. What's the interaction? Where are we? What are we doing? Why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? So try to listen to that, put it all together, and make a decision based on what's true, not what you would like to be true, but what is true. And remember, red flags don't change color. If they're any color other than green, it really is time to make a very important decision about your safety, your protection. Because one of the things, and I heard this again, that we can't outlove someone's trauma. When somebody has experienced trauma and they haven't done the work of healing, your love won't be intense enough or big enough to stop it from affecting them and you and the relationship and children when they come, if they come. So these things are really important to identify, really important to know, because these patterns will go with you throughout the length of the relationship. So thank you for joining me in this episode of Stories That Shape Us. I hope you'll join me on the next story.